It was sunset, and the sky was red. Two people stood in the middle of a quiet battlefield. One of them, a blonde-haired hero named Hayden Reich, was on his knees. He was badly hurt and bleeding. His sword had fallen, and he looked weak. The other person, a silver-haired man named Julian Crifford, walked toward Hayden. Julian looked calm and had no emotion on his face. Julian cleaned his sword with a piece of cloth as he said that even heroes bleed when their power is gone. Hayden, feeling betrayed, asked Julian why he was doing all of this. Julian said Hayden should have treated him better as he was supporting him as a hero, and now it was too late. Hayden asked if Julian would really kill him, even though he was his teacher. Julian said yes. Julian swung his sword and took down Hayden with a single strike. The scene changed. Now, our boy, a black-haired gamer named Lee Saho, was staring at his computer screen. He looked shocked and angry. He couldn't believe what he saw. Hayden, his favorite character, had just been killed by Julian, someone who used to be his student. He was sweating while looking at his computer screen. On the screen, it was shown that his pre-order was in progress. Our boy thinks about how Hayden was the hero of the Northern Front Line who led everyone even in his desperate situation, and how he was a mastermind when it comes to hunting demons down. He was literally the protagonist of the game. Our boy grit his teeth in anger while thinking that how could the protagonist just die like that? Our boy had played the game Kill the Demon King for years. Hayden was the main character, the smartest and strongest hero in the game. It made no sense for him to die like that. A blue window pops up on the screen displaying his pre-order of Kill the Demon King as he thinks to himself that he had so much hope for the sequel, and they betrayed him in the worst possible way by killing his favorite character. Our boy opened his game stats. He was ranked number 1, had spent 38 million won, and played for tens of thousands of hours. He was angry that Julian, the silver-haired villain, had now become the main character. He saw people online talking about it too. Some were mad like him, like saying things that it seems that Julian's the main protagonist this season. Others thought Julian looked cool. Some said villains were interesting. Our boy decided to cancel his pre-order for the next game. He clicked the cancel button, then threw his game stuff into the trash. Then he laid on his bed feeling sad and cursed the game how trash it became. But deep inside, he was sad. But at the same time, our boy thinks that no other game has graphics as good as Kill the Demon King, and how that game helped him when he thought that his reality was completely destroyed by his job. The game was like an escape from reality for him, but now it's over. He looked at a small flower near his window. He sits and starts watering his orchard plants while shading his game. Like how old people love to grow orchards because they don't grow up to become like any stupid game that disappoints them. Suddenly, an email popped up on his screen. It was from the game company. They asked if he canceled because of the story. Our boy didn't care as he thought that this might be because they didn't want to give them a refund. He clicked the link. Then, another window appears saying, "Change the story yourself." Without thinking, our boy clicked again. The screen became super bright. Our boy woke up lying on hard, dry ground like some kind of a wasteland. The sky was orange. He looked around and realized this was the battlefield from the game. It was the same place where Julian had killed Hayden. Before he could understand what was going on, a big scorpion monster appeared. The monster ran at him. Our boy moved quickly, dodging the attack. Our boy suddenly realizes that this is the Scorpion King from the game that he spent thousands of hours playing. It looked scary, with huge claws, sharp legs, and red eyes. Then, a window popped up in front of him. It said he had new traits, great sword skills, and the ability to sense monster weaknesses. The monster attacks, but our boy resists his claw with his one hand, looking frightened. Suddenly, he raises his hand and punches him, and the Scorpio falls to the ground. He was surprised that he possessed this much strength. Then a light appears around his body. The blue screen appeared again. Then he realizes what is actually happening. It's character possession. The Scorpion King rises to attack him, but our boy starts running. Then he noticed a sword on his back. He grabbed it without thinking. The sword felt just like the one Hayden used in the game. He thinks that the character he has possessed is Hayden, which he spends thousands of hours playing. Our boy attacked the Scorpion. A bright blue line of energy came from the sword. With a single strike, our boy takes down the monster. Breathing hard, our boy looked at the sword and smiled. This was definitely Hayden's power. He thought he had become Hayden as he thinks that he might be able to change the story and might be able to save Hayden from dying. But then another window appeared. It said he had unlocked a skill called Crescent Slash. That didn't make sense. Hayden never had that move. Feeling nervous, our boy pulled down his hood and looked at his reflection in the blade. He saw red eyes, silver hair, and a cold face. All these facial features were Hayden's. A final window appeared. It said his name was Julian Crifford, the Demon King's helper, the traitor. Our boy is shocked to see that. He wasn't Hayden. He was inside Julian's body, the villain. The scene shifted to a huge castle. Inside a decorated room, our boy was looking at himself in the mirror. A thought hit his mind. A traitor and an evil guy who deceived his own master. This is him, Julian Crifford. Our boy raises his hands to pull at the corner of his eyes and try to widen it. But they weren't open more than their usual. All of this wasn't even his primary concern. How the hell did he end up in this world as Julian Crifford? It's been a week ever since he started living his life as Julian. He had tried everything he could to return to his world, like shaking the status window, shouting at the sky hoping someone would reply and send him back, or searching for any instruments that could send him back, but all of these things failed. Thinking about all of this, our boy let out a heavy sigh. Then he shifted his gaze to the window in front of him and looked at his special trait, which was to speak formally. Speak with respect in all languages. This annoyed Julian because he had to act respectfully and formally even when he was talking to himself. Despite all of this, he couldn't help but smile because at least he looked pretty handsome. He understands why his character is so popular. Julian admired his own reflection in the mirror. Meanwhile, a young nervous man was trembling as he approached Julian. He has brown hair. He gathered up all the courage and opened the door. Suddenly he announces, "Sir Haran is here." Haran is a direct descendant of the Kryart family. He wonders what he's doing here. As Julian gave him a stare, Haran got frightened, wondering why Julian looked so scary and angry. He asks Julian if he's okay. Our boy confirms to him that he's fine and thanks him for his concern. Hearing this, Haran lets out an uneasy laugh and thinks that it was foolish of him to assume that Julian would collapse. Our boy, calmness and coolness remained unchanged as he laughed, but in his mind, he kept thinking what Haran was up to and why he came here in such an unexpected way. He isn't some random guy to check on me. Meanwhile, Haran, on the other hand, was thinking how Julian could be so calm and relaxed about his visit. It didn't seem normal to him at all. He thought that maybe he should rattle him a little bit. Haran smirked and spoke in a casual tone. "Julian, I heard a rumor that you've lost your memory." Our boy gets shocked hearing this. But quickly he connected all the dots while resting his hand on his chin. Maybe that was the reason everyone was calling him when he was acting strangely to get to his real universe. That might have seemed suspicious to others. Our boy's gesture suddenly got noticed by Haran. He wondered if he must have got it right. Haran says, "It's just a rumor." Hearing Haran, our boy's gestures suddenly shifted, seeming more dangerous than ever. Then he asks Haran, "Do you believe in this rumor too?" At that moment, Haran got more terrified and scared. It got him sweating again. "There's no way I would," he says. Haran thinks to himself, why did he ask? It also got him thinking that maybe Julian knows that he has arrived under the Noble Elders Association order. Haran takes a deep breath and tries to convince Julian that there's no need to believe any of those rumors circulating among maids at all. And there's no need to take it seriously as well. Then Haran tells Julian the real reason he has arrived, which was that the Elder Association had a message for him, and they told Haran to deliver it. Upon hearing the name of the Elder Association, Julian recognized the weight behind them. It was created by the nobles. They have always regarded bloodlines as very important. Those who place importance on lineage. Julian is a collateral family member. He is an excellent swordsman and a magician. The organization has always viewed him as a thorn and wants to get rid of him quickly. A message from them. Julian's mind raced, and he thought that he should be careful. Our boy asks Haran about the message. Haran hesitates a bit, then says that Julian needs to participate in the Shut-Eye entrance test as an instructor. Julian thinks about it. Shut-Eye is a very important group that secretly does all the missions inside the palace but acts as guards. They are an organization where people with incredible martial forces gather. Julian is also a part of the Shut-Eye, and people who look down upon him choose him, which seems suspicious to him, and he wonders if he should listen to their request in the first place. Haran smiles as he thinks that normally Julian is able to recognize his Elder Association tricks and try to avoid them. He starts thinking about how to convince him. Before he could formulate a strategy, our boy responded yes. that he would go as a supervisor. Haran is stunned and confused to hear this. His eyes widened in disbelief. He tells him that his injury is too much for him to participate in, but Julian tells him that it's about to be healed as he removes the bandage off his head. Haran panics because he realizes that Julian is serious. The speed by which Julian accepted the offer was beyond suspicious for Haran. He wanted to curry some favor. As Haran starts to leave because he has no idea what Julian is going to do after this, Julian stops him. His tone sent a shiver down Haran's spine. Haran turned around to say something, but before he could say a word, Julian handed an orchid pot to him with a cheerful grin and looked at him with evil as hell. Haran leaves the room, feeling defeated. Even his legs started shaking to the point where he fell on his knees due to panic and thinking about the nickname of Julian, who was a smiling executioner. On the other hand, Haran inside his room thinks that he has dealt with one of them as his room is full of orchids and now he's trying to get rid of all of them. Then he thinks to himself that someone might be waiting for him, so he needs to prepare. He grabs his blade and says that as he's Julian now, so he should not act stupid because Julian would keep a blade with him. He opens his closet and says that Julian's style of clothes is crazy and he hates it, but he has to get dressed perfectly so that he won't draw any attention. So he grabs a white coat. He opened the door and told Haran that he was ready and couldn't wait to get to the interview. They went on a carriage. Haran tells Julian that the enrollment tests for Shut-Eye will be carried on training grounds of Vale Academy. Julian thinks about how Vale Academy wasn't a significant place in the game, but he still remembers. After a brief moment, our boy asks Haran about the Vale Academy, which catches Haran off guard because he thought that Julian was already familiar with that place since he is from that academy. Our boy's mind went blank for a moment, and to cover up his mistake, he said that he wasn't aware of that fact as it's been really long and he's sure that it has changed a lot in these years. Haran says that a visit to the academy might be a bad place to visit. What if someone from that time finds Julian? The carriage comes to a stop. The carriage driver tells both Julian and Haran that they have finally reached the Vile Academy. Julian looks outside at the beautiful building of Vile Academy. Julian says that this academy is surely larger in real life than it was in game. Haran asks him what he just said. Our boy covers up by saying that even the graphics of the anime can't beat the beauty of Vile Academy. Haran looks at him suspiciously. Haran wonders how scary Julian really is and how he is scheming to be like it. Julian gave a look to Haran, who was sweating. Julian wondered, isn't he too afraid? I kind of feel bad. Julian says that he can leave if he wants to and also thanked him for escorting him to the Vile Academy. Haran says that he will be here as he wants to see how the tests would run. Julian looks him dead in the eye as he thinks that Haran wants to get out of this place. Julian also sees an ominous aura over Haran's head. He was also kind of shaking and seemed terrified. At first, Julian thought that maybe it's mana. But it can't be Haran's mana. Maybe it's an emotion. Or maybe it's fear itself. Haran asks Julian why he keeps looking at him in the strangest way. Julian opens up his status window that says that he is sensitive to negative emotions that are directed towards him, and he is able to judge emotion by the color of negative emotions aura. Haran's wonder why Julian is pointing towards him like he did something wrong. Now that Julian thinks about the fact that this character has always been pro at knowing other people's emotions in the game too. He was also really good at utilizing other people's fear. He was able to win a fight without having a proper fight because of this ability. He also uses anger so that his opponent would make more mistakes than they usually ever will. Everything made sense to him now. With this realization, Julian turns back to Haran and analyzes him fully and thinks maybe Haran isn't leaving him due to his ability. Maybe he is scared, so he's sticking around to keep an eye on me. Maybe the Elders Association ordered him to keep an eye on our boy. Our boy gets lost in his thoughts as he tries to guess what the Elders Association wants to do as they consider him a thorn in their side. Julian thought that his character was very infamous in the game, so it makes sense that the Elders Association wants to get rid of him. So they started to spread rumors against him like he has lost his memory to get rid of him. As this might be the perfect time for the Elders Association to get rid of our boy. And of course, Julian won't let this happen at all. He needs to survive all of this chaos and make his way to his world. He starts thinking about his next move. Someone bumps into him and apologizes. When that stranger opens his eye, he sees Julian staring and smiling at him. And since he has a villain face, the stranger falls to the ground and starts screaming in panic and says, "Julian, His outburst quickly drew the attention of all the other students standing there. As soon as they spotted Julian, they started to panic even more that why the crazed dog of the royal family is here. They all starts assuming that the stranger who bumped into Julian is done as he has made the biggest mistake of his life. Even Julian hasn't done anything yet. Not only the students were having these thoughts, Haran was also panicking. He rushed forward and pleaded with Julian to leave the stranger as he's just a student. Julian makes a fist. In the mind, our boy thinks that he hates Julian too as he killed his favorite character in the game. Everyone around him has intense fear of him as he is Julian now. How is he supposed to get angry at this point? He just wished that Julian could have been a lot more nicer or treated people in a better way so that the people surrounding him wouldn't look at him with fear. Suddenly a girl with long, beautiful black hair wearing high heels arrived. She stands in front of Julian. Julian recognized her as a woman named Eileen Donachian, as she's one of the main characters in the name Kill the Demon King. She is an instructor in the Vile Academy who is affiliated with the Adrathan Empire's Mage Tower. She is a very strong and intelligent magician who can even handle the metal element of the 5 elements. She is 5th tier at the age of 24. Julian suddenly recalls her from the game. She even give Hayden tons of valuable advice in the game. Our boy wonders why Eileen has arrived here to greet him. Like, do Julian and Eileen know each other by any means? Julian, something unusual caught his attention. A strange aura was surrounding Eileen. He wonders whether it's fear or anger. Then he notices that it isn't fear or anger at all. It's resentment. He wonders what Julian has done that has made her angry. As Eileen is a really strong magician, he shouldn't do anything that might find her suspicious. He thinks that he should come up with an idea to handle the entire situation quickly, and he asks who gives halflings such as her permission to talk to him. The words turn Eileen's face ice cold. The atmosphere surrounding it dropped several degrees. Julian starts crying internally. He curses himself as all of this problem is caused because he's Julian. He reaches for his blades and asks her if being halfling also means that she only has half of her hearing. So he decides to lean into the role of the villain. Then he taunts again, asking if she knows what kind of noise a person makes when they die. Julian steps forwards as he laughs internally, saying she must be scared and he can calm her down. His villainous smile only widens. But then suddenly, Eileen gave an opposite reaction as she released her yellow mana. A strange yellow energy erupts from her body. She warns him by saying that this isn't a way one should act in front of professors and students, as it's an act of violence against an entirely vile academy, which isn't allowed at all, and she won't forgive him for it. This terrified Julian. Then Eileen tells our boy to prepare himself, as she's going to attack him, and she won't be an easy opponent for him. Julian knew that he would lose in the fight, so to back out of it. He made an excuse that he was just trying to back out after scaring her as a villain. But Eileen didn't listen. Lightning gathers in both of her palms, and she fires a powerful blast at him. Our boy's sword was already raised across his chest as the lightning strike, which deflected the attack. The ground trembles. He starts to wonder if they are actually fighting now. Eileen narrowed her eyes and got angry as Julian was looking away in the middle of the fight. Eileen looked back at all the students and ordered them to stay away from the fight as it can harm them. All the students trembled and they quickly ran away from the ground for the sake of their own safety. Haran starts wondering what is going on. He regrets that he should have listened to Julian when he ordered him to leave this place. As Eileen was distracted by the students, Julian took advantage of this opportunity and said that she should not look away from him as he raises his sword. Eileen used her magic as a barrier, but it only lasted a few seconds. Eileen gets embarrassed and ashamed. She suddenly sticks her hands out and strikes another lightning bolt towards Julian. But he blurred in and out seeing her attack and tried to dodge it and leap back into the distance. Julian thinks that those attacks were really dangerous and effective, as if she was putting her emotions into it. Regrets ran across Eileen's mind as she didn't think that her attacks would be this much fatal, as Julian was able to dodge and ran away from each of her attacks, which she didn't expect at all. At one point in her life, Eileen thought of Julian as an ideal noble. She also admits that he played his role perfectly. That thought sent her back into a memory when she was still a student at the Vale Academy, and all the girls were impressed by him, and they used to fawn over him, saying that he's more charming than any of the other nobles. Even Eileen, who was just a freshman student back then, was also taken away by his look. She used to think of him as a super cool student. Not only did he have a lot of connections, but he was also regarded as a rising star of the empire with his swordsmanship. She tightened the grip on her book and says that whenever she looks at him, she gets hope that the fact she from a collateral line won't hold her back. Back then she couldn't tell apart respect from love as she handed him a love letter. Her hands were shaking. She put so much feeling into it, but in the end, she got rejected. That's a stupid memory of hers that slips through her mind every day. Reminiscing through all those memories, she charges up a huge lightning palm between her hands to hit Julian. He steps aside again. It would have hurt him real bad if he hadn't. This really frustrates Eileen as she has missed another shot. Our boy wonders why Eileen's face is so red and full of anger. He thinks that maybe he should wrap all this mess quickly. Our boy moved like a gust of wind in an instant, and when Eileen turns, it's too late. Before she could even turn back, he hit her in the back of her head with the hilt of his sword and said that they should stop playing around. Eileen cries as she asks him what he is doing and why he is looking down upon her. He could have killed her if he wanted to by using his Moon Knight sword when he knew the opening. She felt enough mana radiating from his body, so still he didn't kill her. He smiles and says that she really wants to know. She mistakes him and immediately gets the thought that maybe he has acknowledged her feelings. She even starts to blush. Julian simply shrugged and then pointed at Haran, who has been lingering in the background because this is Haran's first time here. He had no idea where the testing grounds were, and everyone else was too scared of him to tell him. Julian says to Eileen as she knows the truth now, so she should be leading him now as she's a halfling. Haran wonders that Julian could have said all of this stuff about him with a little bit more respect. Eileen internally gets really angry, then went forward to say, "Was this really your reason?" As our boy starts moving in the opposite direction from Eileen, he says that Moon Knight's sword is really special to Julian in the game, and Eileen must be referring. Normally, when a sword is covered with an aura which is visible in the form of lightning surrounding the sword. However, this sword seemed really powerful for Julian to him. The sword itself turns into a bluish color, making it seem as if it's holding moonlight within itself. Julian used the sword to kill multiple demons. After other people witnessed it, they started giving it the title of Monk Knight sword out of respect and fear. This sword is the identity and source of Julian's power. While thinking about all of this, he wonders how he is able to wield such a powerful sword into his hand. It's a sign that Eileen must have started catching on. He starts sweating as it can be really bad for him, so he must do something so that she couldn't find out the truth. Haran wonders what he is scheming now. Elaine turns around and asks Eileen and Haran if something is wrong. They both started panicking and said that it's nothing. Then they lead him to the training ground. Julian opens up the door and asks if everyone is doing fine. He also apologizes for being a little late and blames Professor Eileen. Then he introduces himself as Julian Cryhart Plasson and says that he will be conducting their Shut Eyes exam. He says that everyone in the crowd must have heard about him before, as he's very infamous. As he looks among the students, he sees a familiar face from the game. He was the second son of the Torso family. He kinda knew that he would show up. The Torso family have been friends with the Cryhart family for a very long time. It's generally deemed a high honor to be associated with Shut Eyes, which is an organization directly affiliated with the Imperial family, which means that it is like getting in is really tough and competitive. The entrance exam is a battle between an instructor and an applicant, and during the process Julian brings the second son of Torso family to dishonor the defeat. The Elder Association would see this as a best opportunity. This is the part where Julian's infamy might end. He announces loudly that it seems that everyone there is willing to enter the Shut-Eye exam. Then he goes on to poke fun at them by saying that they have very naive eyes and an easy upbringing. He says that even the ornaments of their sword makes him laugh. Then he announces that Shut-Eye is the roughest place in the Empire. He further says that as a senior he would give them a task to complete the task, and the challenge is to kill him. All the students get shocked hearing this. Julian was starting to feel the pressure. He started sweating. Now that he has announced that they have to kill him, he just realized that the entrance exam is a duel. Haran warned him that Julian should not underestimate the students as they won't go easy on him at all. He was in tension internally about how to fight all these students. Even in his fight with Eileen, he was just dodging or running away from all of her attacks. If he were to participate in a real battle, it might turn out really bad as people will find out that he's really weak. And since he's not using the Moon Knight sword, they would think that it was just a rumor and it didn't exist in reality. They will all start believing the rumors that he has lost his memory. This is all he could think of right now. The other students were watching him closely, and he couldn't tell if they were scared or suspicious. But it wasn't just the students. Eileen was a big problem too. If he acted weird around her, she might think he was dangerous. And if she attacked him, he might not survive. That's why Julian knew he had to act fast. Instead of playing it safe, he did the opposite. He shouted at everyone, taunting them and asking them what's wrong. He told them the only way this would end was if he died or no more applicants are left. The other kids froze. One of them raised his hand and said that he quit. All of a sudden, a lot of other students gave up too. The kid from the Torso family realized that this is bad and grit his teeth. Haran notices that all of them quitted. Julian smirked and covered his mouth, laughing quietly to himself. He walked past Eileen and Horrand, proud of his win. Well, that's the end of the exam. No one left to compete, he said confidently. Inside, he was thrilled. He'd pulled it off. He knew that when things got hard, his more ruthless side would help him out. He wonders what Eileen would think of him. Will the fear of him overcome her hatred towards him? But something about Eileen's reaction stopped him. She wasn't angry. In fact, her face looked calm, peaceful even. Not what he expected at all. He wonders what happened. Maybe his skill isn't working, or maybe it's even possible for Straight to stop showing. Eileen just bit her lip as it reminded her of something from the past, like when Julian avoided unnecessary fights by intimidating his opponents. He doesn't understand that he can only see negative emotions, and not the positive ones. Back at the shut-eye, Haran starts calling Julian by getting in front of him and tells him he has done a very good job. But Julian seems to be having different thoughts. All of a sudden, Julian thanked him and said he is the one who did the hard work, not him. He was just double-checking to see whether skill works or not. A student comes forward. Julian asks him who he is. Then he goes on and introduces himself by saying that he is Razlet, and he is in charge of administrative tasks for Shut-Eyes. Then he says to Julian that the rumors about him of losing his memory are false after all, as he finished the fight without having any fights. Our boy wonders when will this boy stop talking. He says that even knowing that there's a member of the Torso family didn't stop him from not going easy on them. But Haran got angry. How dare you act so full of yourself when you're just a trainee, he snapped. He even brought up the bad blood between the Torso family and Julian's family. Julian sighed and told Haran he was looking at it all wrong. Shut-Eyes don't accept nobles, and since it is directly affiliated with Imperial family, only commoners and nobles can join. Haran asks him if he's the noble. Julian then clears that he's a halfling of the Cryheart family. The second son of the Torso family took the entrance exam, despite being aware that he wouldn't get past the second screening round. Maybe the Torso family is trying to teach their son through experience, or maybe there's some scheming involved in the entrance exam. Horan started trembling. You knew this was a trap, and I was affiliated with the Elders Association, and you still let me come with you? He looked shocked and betrayed. Julian tried to calm him down. No, it's probably just a misunderstanding, he said. But deep down, he wasn't so sure anymore. Maybe there was a plan. Maybe he was part of it, and he'd just been lucky no one had caught on yet. Then our boy went home. All the maids greeted him. They ask if he will be having dinner, but he turns down the offer, also warning them to not let anyone into his office. He went to his office and closed the door and took a big sigh. He put the sword to his table. He reminisced about Haran and how the Elder Association really did scheme something for this entrance exam. He thought that he was lucky enough not to get caught by anyone. But how long would that luck last? He looked down at his sword and frowned. The fact that he hadn't been able to use the moonlight sword had scared him. What if someone from the association noticed? What if they realized the truth and kicked him out of the family? Julian wasn't sure how much longer he could keep hiding. He picks up the sword and starts analyzing it. Julian reached behind him and wrapped his fingers around the hilt of the sword. The moment his hand touched it, something shifted. It was as if time slowed down. The sword's path, the way it moved, the weight it carried, the air it cut through, became crystal clear in his mind. Almost like he could see its trajectory glowing in front of him before he even swung it. A blue screen appeared before his eyes. His stats flickered into view, and one thing stood out immediately: the exceptional swordsman trait. According to the screen, this ability meant that he had been capable of wielding a sword since birth. Any weapon shaped like a sword, no matter the size, type, or style, he could master. But even with this incredible skill, Julian knew it wasn't enough. Not yet. He still couldn't fully control the Moonlight Sword, the legendary weapon he had seen only a few times in the game. It wasn't just about skill. There were others in the Empire who were just as talented. Some were even more polished in swordsmanship. The real Julian, the one he had taken over, was one of the very best. And there were dozens more like him. There is an overwhelming disparity in skills when it comes to aura or mana use. This is the only way he can live in a pathological way. So if Julian wanted to survive, if he wanted to prove that he deserved to be here, he had to do something more, something greater. He took a breath and focused. If the rules of mana in this world were the same as in the game, and so far, everything pointed to that being true, then he knew what he had to do next. He closed his eyes and began to concentrate. In the game, mana didn't just float around randomly. It had a system, a structure. There were meridians in the body, channels where mana flowed, and there were exactly 38 of them. Out of those, 6 were known as the Great Veins. And the most important one? The one in the head, the heart vein, as it was called, linked directly to the center of a person's power. He whispered to himself, I need to guide the mana stored in my heart and send it up, all the way to the Moonlight Meridian. But then, something clicked. He felt it. A faint glow began to rise from within. Then, our boy thinks to himself that he needs to relocate the mana within his body to another area. As our boy attempts this, he finds the resistance much greater than he expected. However, Julian possesses the ability to overcome it. Soon, the sword begins to glow with a faint blue aura. Seeing this, Julian assumes it's a success. But then, a system window appears, stating that the Moonlight Sword is incomplete. Julian realizes that although the sword has materialized, its form is weak. At that moment, our boy notices the faint image of a crescent moon embedded within the blade. Julian, though slightly disappointed, is relieved to see that at the very least, the moon has dawned on the first day. The next morning, Julian stood in the academy's training yard. He exhaled slowly, widened his stance, and reached for the Moonlight Sword again. He didn't hesitate. With a sharp motion, he unsheathed the blade, and in one fluid swing, cut down 3 training dummies at once. A faint glow shimmered along the blade's edge. Our boy thinks to himself that at least he has reached the skill level of a knight. Now, Julian just needs to complete the Moonlight Sword. However, our boy's knowledge of the game is gradually fading. Julian needs someone who knows him, someone he would trust enough to ask for advice. At that moment, a maid enters and informs our boy that he has a guest. Hearing this, Julian thinks the timing couldn't be better. Perhaps it's someone who is a friend of his. But then we see that the guest is Lazarus. Julian calls out Lazarus's name aloud, and upon hearing it, Lazarus lights up with joy, delighted that Julius still remembers his name. Is it because of what happened yesterday? Razlik grinned. You talk like I'm the type to forget someone who yells at a whole crowd. Julian crossed his arms. What are you doing here, Razlik? Lazarus states that he received an order from the commander to confirm the results of the entrance exam conducted by Julian at Veil Academy yesterday. Our boy responds by asking if Lazarus didn't already see the results himself. Lazarus explains that receiving the results directly from the interviewer and delivering them is part of the official procedure. Hearing this, our boy thinks to himself that the Shut-Eye organization is pretty inefficient. Then, our boy turns around and states that Lazarus should report the results. 0 candidates passed the entrance exam. Upon hearing this, Lazarus nods and replies that he understands and will inform the commander. Just as Lazarus is about to leave, our boy stops him and, with a serious expression, tells Lazarus to let Julian deliver the results personally. Lazarus is shocked to hear this. Julian further tells Lazarus to let's go to his carriage together, as Julian will give Lazarus a ride. Lazarus is stunned to hear this. Scared, Lazarus inquires, did he make a mistake? This must be because of yesterday, right? Julian tells Lazarus no, it's nothing. Our boy thinks to himself that he is just being considerate because he thought Lazarus might feel uncomfortable going back alone. But since it have come to this, our boy wonders should he go for Lazarus' advice. But our boy thinks that the Shut-Eye's commander sure knows Julian very well, and Julian will make it so that the Cryfart family can never scheme anything when Shut-Eyes is related by putting in a word. Inside a grand, golden building, its walls shimmering with light and marble, suddenly, the heavy door to the commander's office burst open. A staff member came rushing in, face pale, panic in his eyes. Commander, Commander, we have a problem. The man seated behind the polished desk didn't even look up right away. He let out an annoyed sigh. What is it this time? He says that Julian Cryhart has come over to meet him. The commander raised his eyebrows after hearing the name of Julian. In the Adderton Imperial Palace, we see Julian smiling. The main setting of the game, Rosinda Continent, is ruled by 3 powerful nations. Among them, the strongest nation is the Adderton Empire where Julian is currently. After the Demon King Barbados was sealed, the ruined nations were swiftly annexed through a powerful monarchy, making it an absolute superpower. And it proves that power is none other than the magnificent Imperial Palace. Our boy loved this place when he used to play the game. Razlet wonders why he is smiling. It seems so scary to him. He wonders that normally, Julian even visits someone in person directly or sends a servant. But now he has arrived to visit the commander of Shut-Eye directly with the apprentice like him, which really seemed odd to him. All the other people surrounding them also find it really odd that Julian has come over to meet the commander of Shut-Eye. People were whispering things like if he was injured, then still why he came, or maybe his memory loss was just a rumor. Razlet felt like he was about to faint. Julian says that he loved the scenery of the Imperial Palace. Razlet agreed with him. The scene shifted to the first gate, Jyajkian Gate, which is open to everyone. Razlet wonders why Julian is saying all this stuff, because this is a known fact about Shut-Eyes. He wonders what if all of this is part of a test. He looks at Julian and wonders that he is giving him a condescending expression, which means that a lowly apprentice like me needs to take another test. If he doesn't guide him properly, he might end up in his list of failures. He felt like this game is larger than it seems. Our boy asks Razlet if he's doing well. He replies by saying that he isn't sick at all as good health is an extremely important thing for the Shut-Eyes. As they arrived at the place, Julian got super happy. Razlet asks him if he passed the test or not. Julian got confused. Razlet asks that wasn't this all part of the test for him. Julian asks why he would be testing him. Razlet gets teary eyes, more like the tears of joy, and says that it means that he has become a fully qualified member of the Closed Eyes. Our boy wonders why Razlet is asking such questions. Razlet thanks him and leaves him. Julian kept wondering what got into him and why he was so weird. One of the guards calls him and says that Commander Ordwin has announced that he wants him in. Julian gets excited to meet him. Commander Ordwin is a sole heir of Balladur family. His strength and leadership were enough to secure the crucial position of commander. He is a Closed-Eye member who follows the Imperial family and can only be unified and led by him. Julian wonders what kind of charisma he might have. He gets a little nervous. Getting close to the door, he loudly says, "Commander, I'm coming in." The commander allowed him to come in. Then we saw a lady with long hair sitting on a seat. She is Commander Ordwin. She says, "Julian, come in. It's been a while." She asks him if he's all right as she has heard about his injury. Julian gets scared for a moment as he didn't know that she's the commander of Shut-Eyes. He remembers that he was told that she's small, but never thought that they mean this much small, especially because she looked more like a woman than a girl. She says that he would say that she's small like she read his mind, but he denied the allegations. She orders him to report his injury. He wonders how to explain it as Commander Ordwin isn't someone who takes things lightly, and if he messed something up, he might get suspended. Our boy wonders that even the real Julian would have shown respect to Commander Ordwin, so he should too. So he thanks for her concern and says that this injury wasn't minor at all, but it is also not enough to hinder his loyalty to the Imperial family. Commander Ordwin gets shocked for a moment as she didn't expect that he would talk in such a polite manner. She asks him if he usually speaks like this because something feels unfamiliar.